Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey. So welcome to the Career Developments in Online Media panel, which is the most interesting sounding panel.
It has a
At all
very
of our
grown-up
teams.
name.
So basically what we're going to go through, and just to give you kind of like a preface to all this, 3 years ago I was a Rooster Teeth fan and an attendee, and I was like sitting on a seat just like in a booth like this or a panel like this, and these guys were doing a career development panel just like this one, and I used a lot of the notes that they gave and implemented them, and I think that's what got me to Rooster Teeth. So I thought I'd return the favor, and if you guys are aspiring filmmakers or whatever, this isn't just to get you a job at Rooster Teeth. I mean, this is just kind of the information we're going to give you is applicable to really any field. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something from this and you can take it forward. So yeah, I'm Blaine Gibson. We're going to go down the line and introduce each other, or ourselves, and kind of say
This
what
is
school
Kyle.
we went to.
Miles is down there, and I think
We'll go through and we'll say
Explain.
who we are, where we went to school, how we got involved with Rooster Teeth, other internships that we participated in, skills that we picked up. So yeah, I went to University of Texas. I got a Bachelor of Science in, thank you, radio, television, film. I first got an internship at a magazine company they distributed on campus, and then I got my internship with Rooster Teeth after being a PA for Barbara. And then, yeah, I shortly got hired after for live action.
Hi, my name is Mariel. I went to UT as well. Yeah. My degree is also in radio, television, film. Before Rooster Teeth, I worked for PBS, a local production company here, and then I worked for Sony in LA. And then the way I got in my internship is that I turned down the internship to go to Sony, and then I came back to do that, and I work in broadcast now. So
no, you turned it down again.
I turned it down twice. Third time, though.
I'm Cole. I went to Texas State.
Woo!
So
Yeah.
but I guess I got my start doing gardening. So I was gardening for 3 years.
I thought you said gardening.
Gardening.
Yeah, that too.
That too.
They
They
have a nice little victory garden out there.
you guys had some nice grass, and I was like, okay.
Zen garden. It's therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly.
Cole, did you do any internships before you went to Rooster Teeth?
No, I came here straight out of college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm Kyle Taylor. I also went to the University of Texas. While I was there, I did TSTV, and then I knew Miles and Brandon, and then Miles, he got his internship, and he hooked me up with being a guardian at RTX 1. Got to meet everybody and remind Brandon, it's like, hey, we did go to school together. Then I got the internship from there, did, after that, contract work for a really long time, and then, yeah, hired on.
Hello, I'm Lindsay. Nice to see you all. I also went to UT. I don't know if you want to clap for that again. Cool. I started off as theater and dance, actually, and then halfway through I was like, I kind of like film, so I'll just pick up a second major. And I did radio, television, and film. I did TSTV as well. After college, I did a few various internships. The biggest one was CBS, so I did a lot of news programming and editing promotional videos for them. And then I got hired for live action, worked on the podcast, and then went to Achievement Hunter.
Hi, I'm Carrie. I sound like... Thank you, guys.
I thought you were Blaine. Take your shirt off.
Absolutely not. I don't want to blind children. I'm going to sound like a piece of shit compared to everybody else. Did a lot of film stuff in high school. Was going to a community college for programming for video games when I got my internship, and then I just kind of stuck around, so yay. I've done a little bit of everything in the company. Started with Machinima, went to live action for a while, helped out the podcast for a while, and now I'm doing animation full-time. I did Achievement Hunter stuff, too. I still do, sometimes.
Yes, you do.
Hi, my name is Miles. I went to the University of Texas. I have pizza stuck in my teeth right now. It's really bothering me.
Yeah.
So thank you so much,
Want some
Kieran.
moonshine to wash it out?
Yes. Yeah, I did Texas Student Television where I met Brandon Farmahini, and while I was there, my friends and I produced a show called Video Game Hour Live. And on that show, I developed a segment called The Noob Corner, which was a Halo 3 machinima. It's fucking awful.
I helped you
and
with that.
not funny. Yeah, you helped on that. So while I was at the University of Texas, I volunteered to help be a PA on a bunch of shoots for Immersion. And when eventually they needed some machinima help for season 9, Brandon remembered the shitty thing that I made in college and invited me in. And I guess I wasn't terrible. They kept me around. And eventually one day I submitted a script for a Red versus Blue miniseries, and everybody liked it. Started writing for the show, and now I'm the writer and director of Red versus Blue. That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to note that, I mean, a pretty good amount of us went to the University of Texas, but Carrie didn't finish, or you didn't, whatever you did.
You can say it. It's fine.
You didn't go to college.
I dropped out of
He
college.
dropped out of college.
Yeah.
Cole,
It's fine.
Cole went to Texas State, so it's one of those things that you don't have to go to a specific school.
Might as well be.
You don't have to go to a specific school to get into, Rooster Teeth. But again, this is kind of a general, panel to just talk about careers and just online media in general. And one of the biggest things that I would recommend getting is when I came to Rooster Teeth initially, I got attached to a person that kind of showed me the ropes. It's
Thanks, Blaine. Appreciate it.
Lindsay John. She was a huge mentor of mine. No, it's actually Patrick Salazar. He's in broadcast, and he
Yeah. It's great.
I mean, Patrick was, I guess, kind of like after all you guys were down there came in, but he was like a dad figure to me, Cole, and Mariel.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty important thing sometimes to do is just to find someone who's very seasoned in what you are interested in, what you like to do, and kind of try to learn from that person. They're going to share their knowledge with you. So, I mean, this is kind of, this puts the informal and informational. But do you guys want to go through and just kind of what?
I'm just kidding. Nothing.
That was a good joke.
It was
Good.
great.
Solid. 10 out of 10.
I thought about that like 2 days ago, and I was like,
Did you really? Have you been
I should
saving it?
fucking
It's like
use
written
that.
on Blaine's hand. He's like, yes, nailed it.
Oh, I'm sweaty.
Mom spaghetti.
All right. Anyways.
So that would be a big chunk of my advice is to find like a mentor, and also just like don't turn down internships. Like you're gonna have to start low. Let's go through and if you guys want to go through and say other internships that you're involved with, other pieces of advice. I'm interested to pick you guys' brains. I know that they are too about where you guys wanted to get initially in college and what steps you took to get there. But yeah, if whoever wants to go first, Miles.
Yeah, I'll start off. So, since I was in middle school, I know I wanted to do something with cartoons because that's all I drew when I should have been paying attention in class. Pay attention in class. You can get away with that in high school, not in college. A lot of people come up to us and say, I've always wanted to work at Rooster Teeth. I really want to work at Rooster Teeth. I'm going to be blunt and honest. I think that's a terrible idea. Not because chances are slim or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't think you should want to be anywhere. I think you should want to do something. So, like I said, I always wanted to be involved in cartoons in some way, shape, or form. And when I got to UT, I took classes that I thought would help. I took an animation class, I took a writing class, I took a producing class, and from there I started to whittle down and find out what I was actually really interested in. I was actually bummed to find out I hated animation. It was wonderfully rewarding when you had the finished product, but I do not have the discipline and attention span to draw that over and over and over again. But I found that I really liked writing. What I'm getting at here is when it came time to start applying for internships, I applied to places all over the country and was really, really, really excited about the possibility of going to Nickelodeon. I did not make it past the first round of interviews for Nickelodeon. I made it to the second round of interviews for Cartoon Network and then didn't make it past that. And I was really, really heartbroken. And then I was offered an internship at Rooster Teeth, and I thought, this isn't exactly where I wanted to be, but at least I could learn something from being here and maybe get some experience that could help me along the way. I can tell you I've never been so happy to fail at getting internships in my life because Rooster Teeth turned out to be just a dream come true. And I didn't know that. I thought Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, that's where I want to be. I was wrong. So don't approach it from that angle. Know what you want to do, not where you want to be.
Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network are like, fuck.
We lost Miles Luna. Damn it.
They don't fucked up.
Before we go to the next person, I think a big key takeaway is a lot of us are talking about internships. That's like a really big part in getting into the professional world is you have to dip your toe into, you have to work for free. You're not going to be working off of a lot of money, and it's going to be tough. You're going to make a lot of sacrifices, but it is really important to get internships. So anybody else want to go? Lindsay, did you have something?
Well, Kieran? I mean, we'll go down the line.
Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
mean, I didn't. No, it's just like I definitely had a different experience from everybody else. I guess my biggest thing that I would say, and this is a little bit more general, is when you're an intern, don't be afraid to say no if somebody asks you something. I mean, don't say no if somebody asks you something. I mean, like if somebody says go get coffee because you're making their life easier. We don't do that a lot at Rooster Teeth. We're not big like, hey, go get us coffee, people. But I had to do such random shit when I was an intern. One time I had to plug in all of the hard drives that we had and unplug them again just to make sure that they still worked. That was an entire day for me. I had no problem with it. I didn't complain about it. And that's the biggest thing is, I mean, a lot of interns are there for both people. It's for interns to learn and then to make the lives of the people working there a little bit easier. And they appreciate that. And they appreciate the fact that you're helping them and you're willing to do anything to help them. There's no job that is too small for somebody to do. And I think that's true even once you get hired on at a company is like everything's got to get done. Somebody's got to do it. Don't be the guy that's like, oh, I'm not gonna plug in all the hard drives. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. That is a little bit more generic, but I didn't do a lot of stuff before Rooster Teeth, so I don't have anything.
For me, I'm the kind of person who wanted to do everything growing up. I was like, oh man, it'd be great to be a writer. I'd love to go into musical theater. I would love to be a veterinarian, like anything, a marine biologist. So I guess until I got into high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was kind of a little bit of a variant when I went to college. So depending on where I went, would have chose my future. If I went to A&M, I would have been a vet. Ended up at UT. I loved musical theater, so I was like, hey, I could study here, go to New York, maybe be in some musicals. Cool. Didn't work out. Whatever. Halfway through college, I picked up the radio, television, and film major, like I had said, because I was interested in film. And I said, oh, acting on film is very, very different from acting on stage. I kind of like how it's different. And while I was studying there, I got into screenwriting, I got into directing, and I thought that was fantastic. It's this new world that I haven't really explored before. This is interesting. So, one thing led to another. I knew Miles in college, I knew Kyle as well. Afterwards, I did some internships, but I thought, this is all news internships. I'm really not feeling it. I like creativity. I like being able to make my own thing and not just follow the formula over and over again. So I contacted Miles and said, hey, I see you're at Rooster Teeth. That's cool. I had watched some of their stuff on YouTube, but that's about it because I'm a YouTube addict. So I didn't really know much about Red versus Blue. But yeah, one thing led to another, got hired on, and I did my internship in live action. But same thing, you should try everything while you're interning. And I love internships. I will praise them to the end of the days. But when you're in college, sometimes you have classmates or teachers who might not be as beneficial to you as you would like them to be. Internships are wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely do them. Even if you have a shit internship, and I've had plenty, it will teach you that you don't want to ever do that again. Yeah.
Yeah, just real quick, because I totally forgot to say this. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I'm saying that, too, is like when I was an intern, I would, if I didn't have anything to do, I would just go find other people that I hadn't talked to yet and say like, hey, do you need anything? Can I help you? And so because of that, I'm fairly certain that's what actually got me a job was I kept going around to people. I could help anybody, and they figured that out, and that was what I think actually cemented it. So I mean, like, even if you go in an internship and you're like, this is your job, this is what you're doing, if you've got spare time, which you do sometimes as an intern, help someone else out, Yeah.
Or find something you're like, hey, I have this talent. I could be, utilizing this in another department. Maybe if I could do it.
Yeah.
That happens at Rooster Teeth a lot. We wear many different hats, but that's what I like about the company is they're okay with you being like, hey, come to the podcast, work on this for a little bit.
A lot of people have found their niches here that way. It's just like, hey, nobody's doing this thing that needs to get done right now. That sounds fun. I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
And then
Gus emailed me and was like, who wants to edit the podcast? I was like, I got time. I'll do it. Sure.
You did that for like a whole year, right? I mean, it was a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, when I figured out what I wanted to do, it was a matter of like people always give you the advice of what do you want to do first thing in the morning? You should do that as a career. But for me,
Masturbating's not a career, Kyle.
I didn't say what you do every morning, Blaine. What I want to do every morning
Blaine,
is
I don't wake
play-
up alone.
Oh shit!
This
Yeah,
panel
like-
took a turn. Jesus.
So
It was
sorry.
so professional for about 15 minutes. Good job, guys.
Sorry. I just came from Achievement Hunter. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine.
Blaine, I think you're great.
Thank
But
you, Carrie.
yeah, I was gonna say like when I wake up in the morning, I want to play video games, but it became very apparent that I wasn't disciplined or patient enough to do any of the programming or anything that is required to make a video game. So I sat like one day I was trying to figure out. It's like, man, I really love playing video games, but what I really liked about them were the cutscenes. So then that was that dawning moment of like, I want to make movies. So took broadcast tech in high school, went to community college, then to the University of Texas, took acting, took all the RTF stuff, like met these guys. intern during season 9 for RVB, and I think like like they were saying, it's like if you make coffee. Whatever, dude. Yeah. So that was awesome. I finished my internship, still had like, I don't know, semester left, and started doing random contract work for like American Idol came through, did stuff during South by. The following year, they brought me back for contract work on season 10 of RVB, and then when that was done, Gauntlet was starting up, but it was like my last day or whatever. And I think, Miles, you mentioned to Brandon, it's like, hey, Kyle's done like PA work. Do you need him for anything? And he's like, you've actually done like PA work for who? And I'm like, American Idol, South by concerts, whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, we definitely need you. So, yeah, just did contract work for a while, got hired on. Yeah, that's pretty much basically what I could say about the internship is treat it like it's a real job. Yeah, you're there to learn, but it's also you're there to work and, make everybody's lives easier. It's like an audition, but it's not an audition for the specific company because even if you don't get a job with that company, the reference they'll give you if you did an awesome job is worth like equally its weight in gold.
Or just the experience from the internship
Yeah.
in general, yeah.
Yeah, I think a good thing to take away from that is you said you wanted to make movies and stuff, and yet still in your spare time you were doing the work for American Idol and stuff that you weren't 100% interested in. But because of that, then Brandon fucking loved you. So yeah, never, ever, ever turned out an opportunity to gain experience.
Yeah. A lot of what I'm going to have to say is kind of in line with what Carrie had to say. And like when I started my internship,
Hey, buddy.
we did almost like everything. Hey, boo.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm loving this room.
But yeah, because like when I went to college, when I started college, from the time I graduated, I'd changed majors like 7 times. And so I started as biomedical engineering and quickly found out I'm not smart enough to do that. So then jumped to nursing and computer science and marketing. And then like when I was in marketing, I kind of looked at myself and I'm like, do you like that? Like, is that something that you're actually interested in? And the answer was no. And so I kind of looked at like what my interests were and found that like I'm really into animation, I'm really into production, I'm into like making something that never existed exist, whether it's like scripts, animation, whatever. And so I decided I'm going to start pursuing this kind of career. And that's kind of the mindset that I got when I started my internship, was just treat it every day like this is the best day of your life. You're doing exactly what you did the journey to get to. So like, I don't know, like I always had a smile on my face because like you're doing the best thing ever. So that's my main thing is like always be happy, or not always be happy, but always be happy. Yeah, pretend or just smile. Like if you smile to yourself, then it's eventually like, oh, I actually am happy, because like kind of like you fake it till you make it.
Cool.
I am actually always happy. So
Cole,
sorry.
Yeah.
are you down if we talk about the broadcast animation thing real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Cole, when we picked him up, was working in the broadcast department with Podrick and everybody, and it was really, really awesome. And we noticed, did it start as early as season 12? I think it was towards the end of season 12. You would finish your day of work, and then you'd just kind of like mosey on over to the machinima section of the company, and you were just like, hey, y'all need any extra hands? And the answer to that question is always yes. And you stayed for just hours just to help out Kyle and Josh and everybody working on machinima. And you did that for a very long time. No one ever asked you to do it. No one ever suggested that you do it. You just did it because you really enjoyed the animation and stuff. And then recently we talked with you and Gray and Cohen, and you're making the switch over to the animation department now within
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth. And
Today was the last day in broadcast.
yeah. So we're super happy to have you in animation. Congratulations.
We took him, Ariel. We took him.
And we miss you
He's
very much.
ours
Cole.
now.
You're still a traitor, but we'll always
No. Thank you very much for editing X-Ray and Bev for helping
love
with
it.
that. Appreciate it.
Not to cut off Marielle, we're going to get to you in a second. But just as an aside, with Cole, he was someone who he was just constantly a joy to be around. And he was always happy, always smiling. You know, even if he wasn't having a bad day. And I remember going to lunch with you, and you'd be like, yeah, it's a rough day. You would never be able to tell. And when you're in an internship, be the person that you would want to be with or want to hang out with or have working with you. And that was Cole. Like, no one in the company has beef with Cole because he's just such a nice guy. Takes the initiative. And another thing, too, is, Cole already had his job at Rooster Teeth. You know, he had it made. He could have just gotten comfortable. But no, he still helped out with, like, machinima. He, helped out with Miles and Kyle and their crew.
You arguably switched over to the more time, like the job that has more hours in it. Like you could have just coasted and been like, "Hey, cool, let's do these productions. All right, done for the day. Cool." But now it's like, "No, we have you."
Yeah.
But because you enjoyed it a little bit more.
Yeah, but you done fucked up.
Yeah.
So
Seriously, see you tomorrow.
Cole's a very interesting case study. He was a very good employee. But Marielle, tell us about yourself.
Oh, about myself. So yeah, I grew up like making silly videos with my friends and wanting to be an editor and making what was it? Windows Movie Maker. I love that thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out to Windows.
No
But then-
iMovie? No, I'm
Well,
just kidding.
didn't have a Mac until
I was
got to
poor.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can't all afford Macs, Lindsay.
I'm so sorry. That's Dallas talking. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm from a shitty little town called Plainview in West Texas. You know? Oh
Man, half the population's out today. That's crazy.
There's more people here in this room probably than in my hometown. So. But yeah, so I grew up doing that, and then when I got to college, and then I started watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy and like CSI. I was like, well, maybe I can go into forensics or go into medicine or do something. Then I just realized I really enjoyed the production of those shows and really just wanted to make shows like that. So I actually went to UT as a bio major and was pre-med and did that for about a year and a half, and quickly realized that I was miserable and like was doing well in the classes and stuff, but just didn't enjoy what I was doing. And then ended up going to TSTV. I had a friend that worked there, and she just kind of invited me to come to like one of their first volunteer orientation things, and I was hooked and I loved it. So yeah, I guess my biggest advice is if you can't get an internship, find clubs like that and find, or even just find people. I think one of the biggest lessons is that you learn by doing. Even now, I mean, on the weekends, I'll try and shoot like short films and stuff with my friends just because it's what I enjoy. I mean, I love my job, but it's also like I get to go and do that and work on other stuff outside. So if you can't initially get in it, because I remember I struggled getting my first internship, and that was a local one here in Austin. And I just, instead of that, going to an internship that summer, I just spent the entire summer shooting with friends, and then that kind of helped build my resume. And like TSTV did it as well. So if you guys have clubs like that, or in high school, or even like your like local access channels, like just trying to get as much experience as you can to build up your resume, I think is the best route for sure.
Another thing about Marielle, I was jerking Cole off on the stage, but Marielle, let's rolling out. Marielle, she also kind of bouncing off of what Carrie said. You wear a lot of hats at Rooster Teeth, but like that's something that you should try to do in any internship. So the thing is like, you know, say live action wasn't hiring. Well, I had worked enough in broadcast that, you know, maybe I could seek an opportunity out there. But Marielle, like, you know, you do makeup. You don't have to do makeup. You like volunteer to do that. And then I remember the other day you came up and talked to me. You're like, hey, does live action ever need any producing? So like, never get comfortable. There's always a bottom line. You could always get cut from a position. So just make sure that you show work, you know, your initiative and that you're a hard worker, and people really pick up on that kind of thing. And also, do you guys want to talk about TSTV? Just, I don't know if we should.
Elaborate on
what
that a
about
little
it?
bit.
Well, I mean, just like the importance of clubs. I think soon we'll probably be lining up for Q&A, but let's hold off on that.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say TSTV is important because it was it's the only student-run FCC licensed station in the U.S.
Yeah, there's the copy.
Yeah, I've been drinking.
So I think what was great about TSTV is at the University of Texas, just for example, you won't really get a chance to get hands-on with equipment until you get into kind of the upper level classes, because first they want to teach you theory and the basics and a bunch of really important stuff. But if you're like me, then you're just like hungry to do stuff. Like you just wanted to get your hands on a camera and like some stupid equipment and make something really dumb. What I loved about TSTV is that because it is volunteer, because it is student run, and because everybody is broadcasting on the same station, there is incentive to make everybody's stuff look good. Because if you put your show on at 9 p.m. and some newbie puts their show on at 8 p.m. and their show sucks, no one's going to stick around and watch your show. So you're incentivized to help people and teach people. Students were actually teachers at TSTV. I taught editing and master control for a few years. In the College of Communication, it is cutthroat, man. It is really, really competitive because guess what? Everybody wants to make movies and TV and tell stories because that shit's fun. But when everybody wants to do something and there's only a limited number of seats, things can get pretty tense. it's super competitive. When you're in a class and you're working on a short film, the person next to you is probably, if they're smart, they will want to help you on your short film because that will get them experience, and then that's one connection that they have. But then the dumb people that are like super hyper competitive, they'll be like, no, I want my film to be the best, and fuck your film, I want my film to be the best, and it's a little more hostile. But what was great about TSTV was just the community and the camaraderie, and the parties were good too.
Yeah, and to make this information a little bit more broad, because that's specifically for UT students that we had TSTV. But just any club in general, you should actually like really seek those out. If there isn't one at your college, start one. And another thing too is we had a live action panel, and someone asked, I don't have Texas Student Television at my college. Chances are you have a public access station, and that's what Chris Damaris did. That's what a lot of his friends did. You just find an avenue that your work is going to be shown, and someone will see it. I mean, that's not like Chris isn't here, but that's how Chris got picked up. I think Bernie saw his stuff at like a film contest or something like that. So you got to participate, go out of your way to seek those things out. The clubs, public access, those sorts of things.
Yeah,
Muriel mentioned already a little bit, sorry. But
fine.
as far as like making friends and coming together to make films, like, you don't have to have a club specifically, but finding people to do it with. I mean, that's what Bernie and Matt did. They were at TSTV together, and now they're working together forever. So the people that you make friends with and make films with, you will keep those people in your network for filming, I don't know, later on in life. I can just saying for me, like I have friends from college that I still call upon for voice acting stuff or filming stuff. I'm like, hey, you want to film something this weekend? Let's do it. And, I've been friends with them for 5 years, but it's just someone I met in college, just happenstance. So make friends. Do it.
Yeah, networking is really important. I mean, and just up here, like Miles, Lindsay, and Kyle, you guys all knew each other in college. So
Miles gave me a recommendation. Thank Miles.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Kyle, did you get a recommendation from Miles?
No, he said I sucked. Oh. No, he gave me a recommendation.
Yeah, so
that's
don't
awesome.
burn bridges. Do you guys have anything else before we go to Q&A, or do you want to open it up?
I was just going to mention that
Yeah.
Miles is right. This field is really highly competitive, especially when you're young and in school. But everybody's there because, this is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do, and it's a lot of fun to make things. But what ends up happening, and you'll notice this, is that not a lot of people have the determination to stick with it when it's no longer fun, when you're putting in the late hours and you're working really hard and like nothing's working. You're like, I need to do this, but this scene sucks. Why did I film it this way? But as long as when that happens, when you hit that wall and you're like, I still want to do this, then that's all you need, and you'll break away from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to have one more thing before we open up to Q&A.
No, totally.
There's always the possibility that you won't get the internship that you want, and you won't get the job that you want, and you won't get the opportunity that you want and deserve, and you might get a job at retail, or like me at GameStop for a while, or maybe you'll even get a really well-paying job that you just don't like, and you still have this passion to do something creative. That's not the end of the world because of the internet. I think the internet has proven that you don't have to live out in LA or know everybody or have all the right stuff. Sometimes, like with Michael,
Yeah,
like
it was like
Michael had
going
his
to
own
college
camera
education.
and a copy of Crackdown. And like, just if you do end up in a position where you don't want to be in life, don't give up on your dreams. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Just do it. No, just do it. You don't have to get paid for it. You don't have to make that your 9 to 5. But what you do have to do is when you get home from your 9 to 5 and your shitty job that you hate, if you end up there, don't stop and watch TV for the rest of the night. Just do it. Do the thing that you want to do, and then upload it on Tumblr or Reddit or YouTube or fucking Vimeo, MySpace. Who gives a shit?
You're Zen.
Someone
Maybe not MySpace.
will see it. Maybe not MySpace, but someone will see it. There's always the chance that someone will see it. And then, you know what, if no one ever does see it, maybe only a few people see it and you never get a job from it, but then, you've got like 50 people that subscribe to you and watch it. Well, then you made 50 people really happy today with whatever video you put out. So, I mean, there's that, right?
And there's the benefit of knowing that you created something. I know a lot of people get really hard on themselves and their work. They're like, oh, it sucks. It's not good. I'm like, you made this. Own it. I mean, it was an idea in your head, and you've actually created it. So you went through the process. Don't just keep it in your head. Actually create something. You'll improve. It might not be where you want to be, but you'll get better. You've made a product.
And going off of what Miles said too, it's, you might have a 9 to 5 job or whatever, and you might be, like you passed the point of college and whatever. Don't give up because, not to get too personal, but one of our guys, our interns now, his name's Patrick. I found out the other day he's 32 and he's an intern, and that kind of made stuff odd because I was like, he's being a PA and stuff like that. But he was super humble about it. He went back to school. He had a job and stuff like that, but he wasn't happy with where he was. And we just offered him a job. I don't know if he's going to take it or not, but that's just goes to show like you can be 30s, 40s, whatever. If you're a hard worker and you like really try for it, and you're willing to try something out, then you can get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, Gray, who runs our animation department, was working at like Motorola for like 10 years, was really successful, and then went, I don't want to do this. He just started doing film stuff on the side. That kept going well. And eventually he just said, all right, fuck this. I'm going to not work this 9 to 5 because I don't want to anymore, even though it pays really well. I'm going to do this thing I loved, and it wasn't easy for him at first at all, but he's come super far since then.
Rick too and composite.
Yeah, Rick, he was doing, was it maintenance stuff? What was he doing? He was doing like repair stuff, and he went back to school and learned compositing, and now he's one of our compositors. He's great.
Yeah, it's never too late to hit that reset button. It's going to be hard, but yeah.
Yeah. James Cameron also did that, but I couldn't get. He was busy.
He was truck driver.
Yeah.
He couldn't be here today, actually.
Yeah.
So we're about 30 minutes in. Do you think it's time to open up Q&A?
Let's do some qua.
Let's do it. We're gonna try to get through as many as we can. So if you can kind of keep them good.
Yeah. Orderly fashion.
No shoving, please. Let's all
Cool.
keep
Let's just
it
go ahead and start
friendly.
with you. We're probably not gonna be able to get through all that. Just so you know.
Hi guys.
Hey.
So I wanted to ask about when you guys would get discouraged when how creative fields are really competitive, or you weren't getting the internships or jobs you wanted. Like, what would you do when you were really down? And
I know, like,
Drugs.
Yeah. I was like, how do I politely say drink a lot?
I know for me, like, my dad's huge inspiration, but he would always say, like, he was a very big proponent of going for a safe industry. He's always been a proponent of, if you go medical, there's always jobs. But, like, through him always saying that at first I was like, well, then, yeah, everybody wants to work for gaming. Everybody wants to be in movies. But I'm like, there has to be someone who gets that job. Like, all these people want to do it. There's still somebody who gets that job. And, I mean, there's a lot of things that are out of your control, but do everything you can to put yourself in that position to get something like that.
And kind of going off, Cole, for instance, it took you a while to get the internship at Rooster Teeth. Brandon kept on turning you down. I mean, not nothing against Brandon, but like you would ask, you'd be like, hey, I want to inquire about the internship, and
It was like 3 semesters, and don't do this, but I had alarm on my phone every Sunday to email Brandon to ask if he needed help.
please don't do that.
No, do not do that. It will not work again. So,
The only reason,
yeah.
Cole, the reason that he got in, it wasn't because of his persistence, although that probably did help, and I'm glad that you didn't give up on it because you're a very valued member now. But he just knew staff members, and I put in a good word for Brandon. I remember at the live action meeting when we were deciding who our internships or our interns were going to be, everybody's like unanimously like, Cole is a hard worker, and we all like working with Cole. So we're like, all right, we're going to get Cole. So don't give up.
Yeah, just put yourself in the best possible position.
Yeah, and if you don't have success as far as what you want is success, I mean, I've already touched on it a little bit, but you're still making content. So at a certain point, you kind of have to be like, I'm doing this for myself and my own gratification and my reward. And the people who support you will know that and be like, look, I love your stuff. I think it's fantastic. I had a similar issue where my family wanted me to do something safe. After a while, they came around, they understood what I wanted to do, and then I loved it, and they said, yeah, you go for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, just at some point double down and say, because if it's what you want to do, just double down, stay focused, and yeah, you'll make it. And just remind yourself that, at least with me, I'd been through my back surgery, so I was just like, this isn't as hard as that. So, like, yeah, just stick with it.
Hi, I'm kind of newer to the Austin area, but I'm actually going to be a freshman at St. Ed's next year.
Nice, welcome.
And I lived in Plainview for a little while, so.
Seriously? When did you live there?
Well, I lived there before I moved to Amarillo, and I lived in Amarillo for quite a while when I was growing up.
Amarillo's
So.
even
Are
shittier
you the
than
mayor?
Plainview.
Yes.
I wish.
We're honored to be in your presence.
Yes.
My question was just not necessarily for a Rooster Teeth internship, but for internships in general. What would you recommend as a general thing that you notice sets interns apart for those who are asked back or those who are asked for jobs?
Initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just never saying no to anything, never just always saying like, always having this mindset of, yes, this is the best thing ever. How can I help you?
Yeah.
How can I make your life easier? Because I know that if I was in that position, I'd want my life made easier. I don't know. It's somebody with a good attitude. We're always going to ask back. Somebody, if we feel like they don't enjoy it, then we're not going to ask them back because we want people who enjoy working. And I think that's general for everybody.
Oh, yeah. And someone who's open to learning too. I know a lot of people are dug in their ways, so we're like, no, we actually do it a little bit like this. And they're like, no, this is how I do it. And we're like, all right, okay. You're not willing to compromise and trying to learn our new system. But yeah, be open to learning, and it's fun to learn.
That and listening. Jesus Christ, listening.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
if we ask you to do something and we say the specific way to do it, like, who brought resumes today? See, you all listened. It's perfect.
Are you on the right track?
As far as resumes go, though, I would say also other work experience. Like, don't be afraid to take a job that might not be in the field, because I mean, work experience is work experience, and
bills
like, I know,
are real.
Yeah, and I know like our boss, or my boss now, since Cole left,
Aw.
Patrick says that he says that a lot. He'll like take over someone who has more work experience than someone who has like just like really focused things, just because they're more well-rounded and stuff. So I guess try and build like a bigger base and whatnot.
I think another thing that sets interns apart is the guys that are willing to stay there. If you come into the office and it's like midnight and someone's still editing, they're either a really slow editor or they're a really hard worker. Either way, they're like
Sometimes both.
Yeah.
they're making a lot of
Speaking for myself,
sacrifices
both.
by being there, and we take notice of that. And I can't remember how many times I've run into all of these people on different instances where you guys have just been working like crazy hours, but it's what sets you apart. So
I know pretty much that I want to be a writer, and I think I'm a good writer. But it's that thing where you can't get a job without job experience. So like, what would you recommend for getting that first job? That first writing job, and how could I set myself apart? And
So I'm kind of a freak accident. Like what I cannot stress how unbelievably fortunate I've been. Because I was editing audio and organizing props when I had my internship. I was not doing what most people do on like the journey to become a writer. If I can recall from my screenwriting class, typically what you're going to do is most writers start off doing coverage, which is essentially when a Hollywood studio is looking for the next big script that they want to back and start tying names to. They just get tons, hundreds of scripts every day because everybody wants to write stuff. So what most like entry-level writers will do is they read over scripts and they essentially do a book report on the script, and they say, this is good, this is bad, this is, I don't know why this dog is a cop, but this could, although it's stupid, could appeal to this audience. From what I understand, that's like the majority of entry-level writing positions. I know Nickelodeon has a special writing like internship like program that they have. That was one of the only ones I could find when I was honestly looking around for stuff like that. But yeah, in majority, with most script writing, it's you'll submit a script, the script will get purchased. You don't get a salary job. You are freelance. And most script writers, unless you're like a huge name, like you have another 9 to 5 and you write in your spare time, and every now and then you'll sell a script and you'll get some money and that'll be great. And then that script is no longer yours; that belongs to them, and you get to work on the next thing. It's really scary. So yeah, that's the best I can answer your question. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, another thing you can do is submit scripts to film festivals, because they'll have competitions for different scripts and script coverage. I think it's Austin Film Society, Felicia? Austin Film Festival. Yeah. You can submit to that, but like I think big cities, they all have film festivals. Yeah, you can submit to, yeah.
We touched base on it a little bit too, but with the internet as it is now, you can also write things or put shorts out on YouTube or any venue you'd like to use. And if people see it, you're like, hey, I wrote this. This is my work, and accumulate some audience that way. I know we've done that with some of our shorts before too, where
Yeah.
people are like, who wrote this? I'm like, oh, funny enough, like Carrie worked on this. And you're like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, just playing that too. I mean, you like to write, you want to do writing stuff. Find someone who wants to operate a camera. They
Yep.
don't want to write; they just want to operate a camera. And work with those people because they also need help. They also need somebody. And Reddit, forums, those are all great ways to find local people, clubs, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Hello.
So
I was just wondering, after you guys graduated high school, did you guys have any fears or doubts when you started your whole
none
path?
at all. What?
Oh my god!
Only because I'm a senior in high school and it's just everything's like thrown at you.
Are you really
kind of.
scared right now?
Honestly, yeah.
Good. If you weren't fucking terrified, I would question your judgment. There's so much pressure put on you at a young age. It's like you got to take the SATs, and then you have to do this, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, Jesus, dude, I'm 18. Like, oh my God, it's really scary, and you should be scared. It's just natural. It's fine.
One of the things that I did is, like, fresh out of high school, I knew kind of what I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure, like, how to get there, and I needed time to kind of, like, develop myself. And I wasn't a great student in high school because I focused way too much on making films for, film class than SAT scores. I went to community college for 2 years. It was a great way for me to save up money and just kind of figure out, like, what I wanted to do with my life. And then, at a certain point, I was like, okay, I want to go to UT, and I'd like to work for Rooster Teeth. Let's try that. So it's just like, if you need time to kind of regroup, I wouldn't recommend taking a break from college, because sometimes there's no going back. Like, once you do that, you're kind of out of school mode. But maybe just go to community college for a bit and just kind of take a break and, figure out things.
My other recommendation would be, if you want to be in a really creative field, that's great. It's really hard to get into. For me, this is what it is. I had a backup that was a job I knew I could probably get, but would also be happy with. I really like programming. I was going to school for programming and working on film on the side. So I knew that if the creative thing didn't work out, I would be happy doing a 9-to-5 doing programming. It probably wouldn't be 9-to-5, but I would have been happy doing that. And having that backup and having that security made me feel more comfortable, just because I wasn't as worried about fucking everything up.
Yeah, I was going to say for me, I did community college also. I was scared, but I also had the plan of like, okay, I'm going to go to community college and I'm going to go to UT after, transfer in and all that. But one of the biggest challenges was that first year, community college, you're going to feel like if that's something you do. What I felt was it's like you see everybody else going off and having fun their freshman year at college, like a typical 4-year school or whatever. You're going to feel like you're wasting time, like you're stagnated, like you're not doing anything.
True story. Yeah.
You got to stick with it. Be like, I know what I'm doing. I know the plan's going to work, but oh man, those parties look fun.
And also know that college is a place where you are allowed to make mistakes. Something my dad told me before I went to college was that you can kind of think about college as real life with a bit of a safety net. It's your first time living on your own. You might get a car to drive around and go to your classes. There's different buildings, like a tiny little mini city. You still need to keep your grades up and still try and network and all that stuff. But if you make, I would be so embarrassed if any of my short films made it out of college. Like, there's one on YouTube that I think I hope I took down. Like, the shit I made in college was shit.
Is that the Red Dead one?
It was the Scott Pilgrim one.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways,
I forgot all about the Red Dead one.
The Red Dead one was okay. Yeah, no, you were. I think you were the
great.
assistant director
I
on it.
helped out, yeah.
No, that was actually one of the reasons I
was really
recommended
fun.
Lindsay, because
I
she
was
was a fucking
blonde then,
boss.
yeah.
You were. You also got me that Jake the dog hat. Anyways, it's okay to make mistakes in college as long as you pick yourself back up and you get your shit done. Like, that's where you get all your bad ideas out of the way. And then, I'm still holding on to one or two, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just like with high school and stuff, like, it's not until the real world is ruthless. It is. College, school, it's there for you to learn and to learn how to fail and get back up.
Yeah. Try as much as you can. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I got to college, and I tried as much as I could, and now I know. So,
Thank you very much.
Hello. With all the dedication that the radio, television, and film major requires at UT, how viable do you think a double major is? And if so, what would complement that, in the eyes of like an employer for an internship or a real job?
it would depend on the employer, in my opinion. Theater helped me a little bit just for some of my internships. Like, I know Rooster Teeth, they were interested in that because they're more creative. So they said, oh, you have background in actually acting in different genres. And they were like, yeah, if you want to be on camera, that's great. But at least you have experience of working with actors. You know what to do in that scenario. But yeah, it really depends on what kind of business you want to go into. I know what you're interested in, but some of my experience too, with just like news packaging, just simple things like we were talking about working in normal jobs. My retail experience helped me with my news because I'm a people person. So they're like, oh, you're familiar with working with people. You can interview these people. That's fine.
Yeah. If you're interested in writing, I had a bunch of friends that dual majored in English, believe it or not. Oh my gosh, that's a crazy concept. Yeah, no, that helps a ton. If you want to do screenwriting in particular, radio, television, film with a dual major in English.
There's another.
I was going to say marketing. Like there are a bunch of productions that make all those awesome commercials, especially the ones during Super Bowl. If you know marketing and you know RTF, that's an avenue to explore.
And there's also, if you go to UT, there's a program called BFP. It's Business Foundations Program. It's basically like the College of Macomb School of Business doesn't do majors, but they don't do minors. Yeah, they don't do minors, but you can get like a specialization and like a certification. And I did it. I think you did it as well. And it's just like a basic like I wanted to go in producing, so I knew I had some kind of basic business sense. So if you go to UT, like the BFP program is, I think, the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, I took BFP too, and I think that was as a way of having like a contingency plan. It's like, okay, well, if things don't work out in the film world, then I'll at least have this like business understanding that I can maybe get into some other area. So yeah, I would say get into something that if it's secondary, make sure it's something that you're still kind of interested in. You'd be willing to work a job in that. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I'm short.
We forgive you.
The struggle's real. It's
How dare
fine.
you? If you want to talk to Jeremy after this, he can relate.
I know the pain.
So, I'm a person who has many interests. Like, I want to write, but I would also like to make music, but I would also like to draw. I want to do everything. So what would you recommend for figuring out what you really want to do, and also in regards to the being able to wear many hats? What would you recommend for being able to learn new skills without becoming too invested in them and wanting to, do that and then just adding to the list of things that you really want to do?
You can learn a bunch of stuff on the internet. It's really helpful.
I've kind of found that you do kind of have to throw yourself in them. Like this is probably not the right word to use, but you kind of go through phases. Where it's like, hey, I went through a phase where I was like, I really want to operate a camera. I really want to be a good cinematographer. So I would like every shoot. That's what I would volunteer for. And I don't do that as much anymore, but that helped me a lot in all the other things. So now I can understand like, oh, that's probably a 35. That's like those kind of things, and that also just helped me on set as well. So I mean, I kind of feel like you should kind of go through these phases of, I'm going to draw a lot for a really, really long time, and then as you kind of, maybe you hit, a little struggle with that or something, maybe you pick music back up, and it just bouncing back and forth between those things, it helps keep you interested, and it also just helps you broaden your skill set. So I think it's okay to, actually.
Someone once told me that advice and experience with work is like a buffet. It can be very overwhelming when you look at it, and some of the stuff you try you're not going to like, but after you leave, you know what you want to have on your plate.
I'm so hungry now.
If you're in school or have the capacity or the ability to take classes, like I wanted to be an editor growing up for the longest time, and then I took an editing class at UT and I hated it. I realized I could not lock myself up in a room for 12 hours and just sit there. And as far as wearing many hats, like Blaine mentioned earlier, I just started doing makeup basically. Like Patrick was like, "Hey, you're the girl that works here. You should do makeup now." And I was like, "Okay." So we had a makeup artist come to teach us everything, and everyone was supposed to learn how to do their makeup, but I was the only one who actually took notes, so I got stuck doing it. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of going with the flow and picking up things where you can, and hoping you don't make Gus look ugly.
And you don't have to be going to college or university. Here ACC is community college, and you can just go and take a 4-week class on video editing. So you can kind of know right then. It's like, okay, is this something I want to pursue? Where you can, they have blacksmithing. So if you want to learn to blacksmith, you go take a 4-week.
They do?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, let's go. Yeah, what are we doing here? Let's.
I learned there's an armor making class at UT. I had no idea. The whole time I was there, I could have been making armor.
Fucked up. You guys
That's
want to
so
LARP
cool.
after this? This is some Skyrim shit. Put some of your stuff
I've been
in there.
wanting to LARP since high school. I will absolutely LARP with you, Carrie. Yes. Yes.
RT LARP.
Yeah.
Also, kind of, you said you have all these different things that you want to do, and you don't know what to do. It's fine to just kind of diversify your skill set. With Rooster Teeth, it's awesome because we have the freedom, at least in live action, to where it's okay, for the next couple of months, I would like to be an editor, and it's you do that for a while, and after a while, you kind of get tired. So it's okay, well, maybe I want to direct a couple of things. So then you do that. You can write, you can act and stuff. So it's important that if you get tired with something, that's okay. Just pick up on another thing that you like to do, work on that until you kind of get tired, and then just constantly be switching. But don't go stagnant. Just make sure you're always trying to improve yourself in one of those, areas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I got obviously a question. I have issues talking to people individually, and I'm going to be 3 years into my animation degree this coming fall. Any way to work past that?
I have really bad social anxiety, and like a lot of people don't know it because they're like, "Oh, you're so happy and bubbly and fun." That's just me trying to combat it because there's like this voice in the inner of me that's like, freak out, like gotta leave, get away from people. I don't want to look at them. But I feel like it's very therapeutic to just try and talk to as many people as you can, and especially with friends or family that you feel very comfortable with. Be like, hey, can I practice with you? Like I used to interview my sister, and I was like, you know me, and you're gonna make fun of me, and it's stupid that we're doing this in my bedroom right now, but it helps me to get through this. So stuff like that.
Yeah, I would also say I think everybody has anxiety issues to a certain degree, but I also have some pretty bad anxiety issues. And the best advice I think my parents ever gave me, and the reason I have this job right now, is because they told me the worst they can say is no.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk to somebody. I went up to Bernie and I said, "Hey, can I be the intern?" And he said, "Yeah," because I knew going into it that the worst he could say is no. He wasn't going to do anything else. He wasn't going to kick me out. He was going to punch me in the face. He'd just go, "No, we're not looking for anybody around." I'd go, "Okay, cool," and then I would walk away. So that's always been the advice that stuck with me the most. Is just just ask. There's no harm in asking.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. Sorry.
Hello.
You broke it. Just kidding.
We're going handheld now.
Oh, okay. Any advice on putting together like a demo reel or a resume, and do like certifications matter? Like for instance, I'm certified in Premiere Pro and like Photoshop.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
It does
do
help.
those help?
Yeah.
No, it's definitely something that we look at and like, okay, cool. You at least know all the keyboard shortcuts and like understand the program. Understanding just the program alone is really important. So that's definitely something. Yeah.
Portfolio is great too. I mean, obviously, demo. It depends on what you want to go into.
Yeah.
When I first applied at Rooster Teeth, I was really into special effects work. So I did a lot of blood work, like crime scenes or zombie stuff. So I had a physical portfolio as well as a demo reel, and that really helped too. So if you're going into makeup or something like that, have a physical portfolio. Don't give them a digital disc. Just at the interview, it's a lot easier to flip it open and say, "Here's what I do. Look at it." But a demo reel is huge. I know it's a silly film and it's still on YouTube. It's called Mimepocalypse, and
It's amazing.
I know. I thought, why not make like a Robert Rodriguez kind of film about mimes that take over the world? So Bernie watched that and he thought it was fantastic, and that was one of my demos. So yeah, demos are fantastic. Make one.
I think just another the TLDR is in general short, sweet, and diversified.
Yeah, and just have fun with the demo reel. Like, think about, like, the person who has to sit there and watch 50, 60 of them, depending on where you send it. If yours stands out because it was fun and, like, enjoyable to watch, yeah, just think about that.
Yeah.
Also, use the internet, I mean, not just for porn, but there's, like, a lot of really good examples of people's demo reels. So you can just Google, like, good demo reel. Take a look at that. Don't copy it, but, see what characteristics those like really good demo reels have, and try to see if you can do that with your own.
Yeah. Also, as I learned this from looking at demo reels for X-Ray and Valve animators, assume they're going to mute it. Honestly, like a lot of demo reels, especially we're looking at animation reels. I didn't listen to a single one of them. I didn't have my headphones on, nothing. I just watched it. So I mean, I think it's probably true across the board in a lot of ways. So just assume that they're not going to give it the full attention it deserves. So try and just really
Get
catch
their
them
attention.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing is have people who you you truly value their opinion and have them watch it, because they'll tell you, hey, this could be worked on. Because
I'm not going to say who, but one of our managers, it's Brandon. He has like 8 to 10 different things going on his screen at once. Make sure that your demo reel stands out. Do something that's going to make it unique and different. And yeah, don't rely too much on audio because he does mute it.
Yeah, and I don't think. Hopefully, it's nothing against either of us. It's just like there's so much going on that it's just like I don't have time to sit there with my headphones on and listen to everything. So I mean, and if you're a musician, they're going to listen to it. But I'm just saying like really hone in on the parts that are important. Yeah,
They got shit to do. Also, same is applicable to resumes. Make yours stand out, but don't make it like stupid. Comic Sans is bad, and we had someone apply, and their whole resume was in Comic Sans, and I just remember being like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah. If you really want to stand out, use wingdings.
Stand out, not get the job.
Thank you.
No, we hired them immediately.
Gumption.
Hey. Yeah.
I'm a little bit terrified right now. Like
Nice to see you
I
again.
almost passed. Okay, hey. I almost passed out yesterday talking to Miles and Carrie.
Thank you for the Skittles, by the way. I ate like half of that bag.
Good. And then as he was passing by on like a little cart or whatever, he said hi to me, and I just screamed, and then just started crying. So but my question is actually for Carrie, because at the ending of season 9 for the Alamo. The ending of season 9 had the finale there, and it had the Alamo. You were the first Rooster Teeth person I ever saw in real life, and I cried over that. And I just, that's not the question. But the question is,
You're the sweetest.
I saw you going around and like helping up stuff and fixing like either whatever stands or whatever, and then I saw you like lay down on the couch and then get right back up. I was like freaking out at the moment. So, and how is that like different from like having that event to doing stuff like RTX?
Oh, yeah, that was really early on in my career at Rooster Teeth. That was back when I was still like, I need to make them like me every single day. I will do everything I can in my power.
You were doing like PA stuff, yeah.
I would do anything that was at like. And it's not that I don't do anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
You want to help Blaine about that waking up alone thing?
Yeah. Bring it around.
Why do you keep clapping, which insults how single I am?
It's funny. I think the reason I was actually, you're talking about like that event. I was like outside of. Are you talking about at that event specifically, or like earlier at Texas?
I've been talking. Oh, well, okay. That one event is like the only thing. I didn't watch you intern for like a year, so
yeah.
That's my only reference to.
Yeah, no, sure. So the funny thing is about that is that was still really early on. The second we started playing the movie, I left. I left the theater just because I was still very young. I still am, and just because I knew. There's little corners you have to cut here and there. I still hadn't gotten over the idea that like, hey, what we're making, it's not perfect sometimes, and there's some things. So that's all I could see. And then of course, the second I walk out there, I see Bernie because he's doing the same thing. No, I mean that like, I think that just goes back to like, yeah, I was at an event. I had nothing to do with that event. Like I wasn't throwing that. I was there as a guest, and I was still like, oh hey, this stand's messed up. Let me fix that. And I guess I was tired because I lay down on the couch. We were probably working on season 10 at that point, to be honest. So I was probably really tired already. But yeah, I probably didn't answer your question at all. But
oh no,
you're
you
also
did,
the
and
best.
it applies to like all of you. Just like how the beginning of your internship of like dealing with, especially like cons like this, or just small events like at the Alamo, how we used to have, just like. How it's different with dealing with people and
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. It's really humbling.
You guys are the best. Yeah.
Seriously.
It is really rewarding too, because it's like knowing that this stuff you guys like, we're busting our asses to make this stuff, and we know that we can kind of gauge how well we're doing, and it's nice.
It's the fucking crazy thing to me still is the very first RTX. I got introduced like last because nobody cared about. Well, like second to last because like nobody cared about who I was at all. But
who's
people
last?
What?
Who's last?
Yeah. I don't remember actually. It's probably like Matt or like someone cool. But people still clapped, and I was like, "Wow, this is the high point of my life." There was like 400 people in a ballroom at a hotel, and I never thought I would be here giving advice to people. Don't listen to me. I'm sorry.
Okay, and also I have like a little pin for Miles because it looks like Felix, and yeah, my dad made this.
Oh, dude.
With like a thing.
Your dad's really cool. So is his thing.
We are running out of time quickly, so I think we have a room for maybe 2 more questions. So
Good lightning round, yeah?
Yeah.
Super fast.
So I have never touched any editing programs, but I'd like to test the waters. Do you guys have any recommendations?
Right near in live action, we're split down the middle between Adobe Premiere and Final Cut 10.
Do you own a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
Go Final Cut, yeah.
Yeah, Final Cut.
It can't hurt. To be perfectly honest, and I know Final Cut 10 is a little bit different, learn them both. They're pretty similar.
You should learn
They're
them
very
both.
similar.
Yeah.
The nice thing about Premiere that I like is it has a lot of good navigation with a Audition and Photoshop as well. The entire Premiere suite or the package, I guess.
Yeah, in animation, we're pretty fully in the Adobe Cam. So I mean, we use After Effects, Photoshop, Premiere. So I mean, like being familiar with more tools is always better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just play around with those programs?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, edit the same thing in multiple programs and see what was harder, what was easier.
Try to get certified in those. Also, to make you more confused, I think UT is strictly teaching Avid. I don't know why.
Industry standard now is moving
Stop
to Avid.
clapping, Avid. Fucking sucks.
Avid can
Try them all. Try them all. Get a trial. Try them all.
One thing that will help that a lot of people don't know, if you ever want to switch, you can use Final Cut hotkeys in Premiere, and that's what I do because I am not learning new hotkeys.
Yeah,
So
think of it as a language. You need to know the language to work with those tools.
All right.
Yeah,
and
do that
this-
for a while and then
Miles.
switch to normal hotkeys because not everybody's gonna do that. I'm sorry.
And this is our last question. Next to you, sir. No pressure.
Wait, we're not getting footy pajamas?
Sorry.
All right.
the jams.
There's a Reese cosplay already?
Wow, I had
That's
like
fucking
a
amazing.
question, but as I slowly progressed towards like you guys, my brain started to get cluttered, so I'm kind of scrambled. But so I've taken film classes. I know like the basics of pre-production, production, and post-production. I've used Adobe Premiere, and I was wondering like what. And me being a fan of Rooster Teeth, I'm like I want to work at Rooster Teeth, but I understand like now I'm growing up. I'm 18 now. The world is like about to explode in front of my face.
It's your oyster.
And what?
It's your oyster.
The world.
Yeah.
The world is your oyster.
Well, I hope I
phrase.
turn out to be a pearl, not a speck of dust. Anyway,
Damn.
well,
I'll
give you my pearl.
I thought that was a good analogy.
That was great.
Thank you, Miles.
Shut up. Let him talk.
Well,
Science.
so I decided, okay, I'm not going to settle on a job at Rooster Teeth, but to find out more about what goes on at Rooster Teeth, since I'm on the East Coast, I'm nowhere near you guys. Like the nearest I get to you guys is in front of a frickin' screen on my phone or my computer. And I figured since this is the end of RTX, this is my last chance for another year to understand more about what happens at Rooster Teeth. Like what happens for interns? Like I understand you guys get divided up into like your broadcast departments, your live action, your animation, achievement hunter, like and other things at Rooster Teeth. But are there any like specific things that someone should know in order to get accepted as an intern at Rooster Teeth?
The biggest thing I would say is be prepared for anything. We've actually, I know Sam's here. We have a couple animation interns in the crowd. It's interns are a lot of times for us the catch-alls. We use a program called Shotgun to track all of our shots. Someone needs to put thumbnails up for every single shot in the show. We have interns do it. Before all the panels we did, we needed all the videos subtitled. So Kyler, our intern right now, totally subtitled every single video in like 2 days. He was great. Basically, be prepared for anything, and having more experience in all these programs you're talking about is good because you're going to need it. I mean, the thing about interns is interns do the jobs that don't come up enough for somebody to be like we don't have a need to have somebody who subtitles as their job at Rooster Teeth. But every once in a while videos come up where it's like, yeah, we need to do subtitles right now. This is just one example because it came up recently, but it's be prepared for anything is what I would say.
And like this will take 2 seconds, and I'm going off of what you guys said. That the worst thing they can say is no. But
Sure.
Miles and Carrie and Lindsay, I've had this idea, and everyone's an idea hamster. I'm not saying I'm special in any way. Everyone's an idea hamster, and you guys probably get I don't know how many thousands, if millions of ideas coming in messages. But I've been thinking about what's been going on in Ruby so far, and I understand you guys probably got that thing mapped up for 10 years or something. I don't know.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. Elevator pitch.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. So the only thing is no. The only thing you can say is no.
Right.
Besides yes. But is there any way that I can get more of like a direct communication thing to you guys so I can spread my idea?
Honestly, messaging us on the site, like I'm a nerd and like I'll go through all of my messages on the site and on Twitter. I look at my feed all the time.
Such
and some
a
of the
nerd.
ideas, I know, right?
Use our website.
What website?
Yeah, well, ours obviously.
Roosterteeth.com.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was a bad joke.
Sorry.
Thanks for
Yeah.
earlier.
Roosterteeth.com.
Yeah.
What?
You buy cheesy bites.
But
Yeah, we
for
just
Achievement
did it.
Hunter specifically, I know we get a lot of our ideas from the website. So fans will send us things like, "Hey, you should do this in GTA. That'd be
Yeah.
a great video." And we're like, "That's an amazing idea." Yes. So I would say that way.
In general, Miles and I are actually kind of the opposite. We actually had a thing where right before Ruby premiered, somebody was just making their own characters, and they made somebody that looked really, really similar to Ren. And we were really afraid that people were going to get upset at us or think we were plagiarizing when it's, no, we just also happen to come with something very similar around the same time. So we're actually, in general, I don't want to say we don't read stuff, because we do, but we're so afraid that people will think that we stole something that we actually tried not to, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't send it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a jerk. I avoid pitches like the plague. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I don't want to be accused of plagiarism or anything like that. But what I do suggest to people is if they have their own storyline that they came up with, fucking write it and put it on Tumblr or something. Like, yeah, no, it's like someone else will love to hear what you have to say. We're going to do our own thing because we already have it all planned out, but someone out there is going to love it.
And just to add that real quick, doing OCs, doing fanfics, those are a great way to get started and get practice because the world is already established for you, and you can just kind of write to that. Do that for a while. It's great. Share it on the internet. People will comment on it. Then start working on your own original stuff.
Yeah.
We love seeing the fan art. We love seeing OCs. It's all great. On top of that, do your own stuff. Stretch that muscle. Practice.
Yeah. Got some OCs cosplaying behind you. Funny enough.
Actually, that's the team that we announced on Friday.
Yeah.
They've already cosplayed the entire team.
Yeah.
I fucking love all of you.
Right on. Well.
Goodness.
Well, you look great.
Yeah, get some rest.
Well, I think it's about time to wrap up. Hopefully you guys picked up something. Yeah, thank you. Hopefully you guys picked up some information that you can use in the future. But yeah, I think we all wish you the best of luck. And yeah, just work hard.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out,
And
everybody.
thanks again. Yeah, thanks
guys.